Oh, I didn't hear the music. Are we on? Are we on air?
Yes, we are on air.
Yeah.
That's because
Okay.
I forgot to share the sound. Sorry
Oh,
about that.
okay. Cool. That's all right.
Uh,
So, welcome to this episode of season six of the Dr. Tech Show, where myself, Pauline Roche, and Sweyn Hunter, and often guests, but not today, talk about digital topics, including the world of online communications and digital inclusion, in a show which was the brainchild of digital storyteller, the late and much missed by us, John Popham. And at the start of the show, unusually, I want to pay a tribute to a guy who, similar to John, was active, very active in his community. Um, Richard Flatley, chair and coordinator of Sandwell Networkers Group, who has died while on holiday in Vietnam. And Richard was well known in the local community for all his activism and for his blue beard, as you'll see in the on screen. Um, Richard was vice chair of Sandwell visually impaired and coordinator of the Sandwell Networkers Group, which was a group that he built up over the years, has now about 750 community groups and individuals, people who find a connection by having the joint purpose of making a difference to the lives of people in Sandwell. And Richard and I worked together to develop the Facebook group that Sandwell Networks Group have, and I had the pleasure of when I was active in the group, more active in the group, I used to live, um, what do they call it? They call it they used to call it live tweeting, live Facebooking,
live
um,
tweeting, yes.
yeah, groups. As they mentioned, their projects or their groups, I would search for them online and then add to the group so that people who were in the meeting could see more about the what the person was talking about, and also people who weren't able to come to the meeting could see what was covered. And there was also an annual Sandwell Celebrate Sandwell event. And during lockdown, Richard and I co-presented a Sandwell Celebrates online, um, and with help from Ted Ryan from our organization as it was then. And we got a lot of groups to record videos, short videos, to so we could include in the programs. It was like a magazine version of Sandwell Celebrates, and it was very well received, including by the local officials, and we even had the Lord Mayor to do an opening segment as well. So that was all when, doing that kind of thing was very new to people. So I'm very proud of us having done that work, and we Richard will be much missed um, in his community. So we're sorry for that loss. Okay, Swain, we'll press on and check on the weather. How's the weather been this week where you are? Where you've been this week, shall we say as well?
Well, I've been here for almost exactly a week now, and it's been a mixed bag of sunshine some days and freezing cold all days, and today is pouring with rain and freezing cold.
Oh
So
God,
that's good. Yes, that's
yeah.
all.
Okay. Well, here in the west of Ireland, the skies, it's cloudy, but I can see blue if I look out further out the window. And this week has been a mixture of very torrential rain and very blue skies with lovely puffy clouds, like an artist would draw. So I'm very glad of the mixture of weathers that we've had. Okay, let's get on to some dates. What dates have you got for us today, Swain?
Well, they're all to do with culture and religion today,
Mm-hmm.
and the first of them is uh, Lunar or Chinese New Year. Um, and I've got a horrible screen to share, but I will. It's an article from Independent. I'll share it anyway, and hopefully you can see what's going on.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, Lunar New Year is on the 17th of February, when Asian communities around the world will ring in the Year of the Horse with community carnivals, family gatherings, parades, traditional food, fireworks, and other festivities. In many Asian countries, it is a festival that is celebrated for several days, and in diaspora communities, particularly in cultural enclaves, Lunar New Year is visibly and joyfully celebrated. In the Chinese zodiac, as I've just said, 2026 is the year of the horse, and different countries across Asia celebrate the new year in many ways, and some of them may follow a slightly different zodiac. But a happy new year to those who are celebrating that.
Absolutely. I looked for Lunar New Year cards here in Ireland. I wasn't able to get any, so I have sent cards to my friends who are particularly celebrating using Moonpig. Sorry, we don't do advertising normally either, but it was handy to be able to do that.
Moonpig's great
Yeah,
for
yeah,
that sort of situation, yes.
yeah, yeah.
Let me see now. What else have we got? We have got Ramadan, which is beginning very soon. I think, depending on when the crescent moon is sighted,
Mm-hmm.
it might even start tomorrow evening. Um, and as everyone knows, probably the Muslim holy month of Ramadan uh, lasts 29 or 30 days, and
Mm-hmm.
Muslims observing the fast refrain from eating and drinking from dawn to dusk, which is typically a period of 12 to 15 hours, depending on where in the world they are.
Mm.
Most Muslims believe that Ramadan is the month when the first verses of the Quran were revealed to the Prophet Muhammad more than 1400 years ago. And the fast entails abstinence from eating, drinking, smoking, and sexual relations during daylight hours to achieve greater taqwa or consciousness of God. A bit like Lunar New Year, Ramadan begins 10 to 12 days earlier each year because the Islamic calendar is based on a lunar calendar with months that are 29 or 30 days long. So we'll be thinking along with everyone observing Ramadan
Mm.
when it begins later this week.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Shrove Tuesday is the day before the Christian festival of, well, Christian observance of Lent. Lent's hardly a festival, I guess.
Mm.
Shrove Tuesday is also called Pancake Day, and it's the day before Ash Wednesday, which is the first day of Lent. And today, this year, it falls tomorrow on Tuesday. Um, and Christians traditionally believe that the 40 days before Easter, which are called Lent, mark the time that Jesus spent fasting in the desert. Traditionally, this is a time spent praying and fasting, which meant not eating a range of foods, including meat, eggs, fats, and milk. And from that comes the idea of using all these up on the day before Lent, which is Shrove Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, and I'm going to add this because although it's a message from a Christian leader, and although John Popham I don't believe was a religious man particularly at all, I noticed this message from Pope Leo
Mm.
the 14th about Lent,
Mm-hmm.
and he was trying to suggest that maybe we should do more than something straightforward like give up chocolate. And what he said is, I would like to invite you to a very practical and frequently unappreciated form of abstinence, that of refraining from words that offend and hurt our neighbor. Uh, Let us begin by disarming our language, avoiding harsh words and rash judgment, refraining from slander and speaking ill of those who are not present and cannot defend themselves. Instead, let us strive to measure our words and cultivate kindness and respect in our families, among our friends, at work, on social media, in political debates, in the media, and in our communities. And in this way, words of hatred will give way to words of hope and peace. And I think no matter what your religion or lack of it, I think those are words which we could well do to bear in mind at the very least.
Mm.
And
Absolutely, I
that's the
agree with
events
that.
for this week.
Great, thanks. That's great, Sweyn. Moving on to some events that we've picked up. Again, tomorrow, the 17th of February, from 3:30 to 5 o'clock, at the Institute of Geography at the University of Edinburgh, there's a book launch. And I didn't pick this one up. I didn't think this was relevant initially, but then I realized the title is subtitle. The title is called From the Bog to the Cloud with Patrick Bresnahan, but actually the subtitle is Dependence on Eco Modernity in Ireland, and it's about the green digital transition being underway. But the blurb says, what does the transition look like when dictated by the demands of monopoly tech? How has this situation come to be, and where is it being resisted? So I thought that might be of interest
Hmm.
to lots of our, well, me as well as lots of
Hmm.
our listeners and viewers. So yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more about that, and maybe even because it's written by Irish people, Patrick Bresnahan and Patrick Brody, maybe I'll get to hear them speaking about it in Ireland somewhere. Okay, and on Wednesday, Lanarkshire Climate Action Hub is presenting an event called Digital Media and Communications for Community Groups. And I picked this up because I thought, even though we all think we know everything there is to know about digital media, lots of community groups and small organizations are still, getting to grips with, I beg your pardon, social media platforms. So this is an opportunity to improve organizations' comm skills and capacity to better tell your stories and reach your target audience, which of course was a key message for John. Digital media, such as social media, websites and newsletters have become essential to most community groups and charities, allowing them to connect with their communities, attract new donations, participants or volunteers, and run their projects effectively. So this is an event where the content is understanding audiences, their behaviors, and how to reach and engage them. Understanding social media metrics, auditing, and evaluation. I think this is something new that previous events like this might not have necessarily included. So I was interested to see that. And then strategic content, another workshop, how to effectively run campaigns to support fundraising and events, etc. And then in the after lunch, they are going to be doing two exercises. One is taking photos and videos, and the second one is video editing. So do get along to that one. We will include a link as usual with all our usual mentions in the show notes after the show on YouTube. And another event in Scarborough this time on Monday, the 23rd of February from 10 until 1 is the Scarborough Digital Hub launch. And this is an event where you can brush up your digital skills, explore tablets or advanced learning. You're invited to join the Hub launch to discover upcoming courses. And this is the official launch of Scarborough's brand new digital hub, a space designed to help everyone build confidence with technology and discover new opportunities. So there'll be chances on the day to boost your digital skills, to look at beginner to advanced courses. They're going to be offering courses on using the NHS app, for example, cybersecurity, programming, and lots more. Smart devices made simple. Learn how to get the most out of your tablet, phone, or laptop, and tech demonstrations. Try our cutting edge kit, including a 3D printer, virtual reality headsets, and more. So looks like a very exciting day for people in Scarborough. I like the smart devices made simple section as well, especially Sweyn. I've actually signed up for a smartphone course myself in Ennis at Ennis Library, because I'm sure there's things I can still learn. It was very interesting to see the material that they were planning to present. And I've also asked for an extra session on transferring from one device to another, because we're always, a lot of people change devices from time to time, and it's good to know how to carry on using, moving over things from one device to another.
That's certainly true. And every time you have to do it, things have moved on. So
Yeah.
it's a bit different. And I was just thinking that about the social media course
Mm.
that where was that in one of those events.
Mm-hmm.
Even organizations that have looked at this in the past, I mean, I think the work of Dan Slee shows that the landscape is constantly changing. So
Mm.
even if you think you've got the best setup and you know who your audiences are and how to attract them, you may well benefit from a bit of time just looking again at how the algorithms work and how all that fits together. So it's good to see
Yeah,
those courses available.
absolutely. And then our final event of this list of events we've picked up is called Cyber Diva, Tackling Cyber Violence Against Women and Girls. And that's on the 25th of February at 9:30 a.m. at Conference Aston in Birmingham. And this is a practical workshop on cyber violence against women and girls, including hidden harms emerging from the dark web. The blurb says cyber violence against women and girls doesn't stop at social media. Increasingly, some of the most serious harm is enabled through hidden online spaces, including the dark web, where abuse, harassment, and exploitation can operate beyond public view. So this is a one-day interactive workshop that explores how cyber violence operates today and how it can be tackled more effectively. The event will bring together researchers, practitioners, law enforcement, policymakers, technologists, advocates, and members of the public to look beyond surface level online harm and examine the systems, networks, and methods that allow abuse to persist. And so participants will explore how cyber violence against women and girls manifests across visible platforms and hidden online spaces, the methods and networks used to enable gender-based abuse, how digital forensics, digital data analysis, and emerging technologies can support detection and investigation, the role of policy, regulation, and institutional responsibility in responding to online harm, and practical approaches to safeguarding, prevention, and support. And I especially like this because the blurb promises that the day was being designed to be accessible to non-technical audiences, while still offering depth and relevance for professionals working in cybersecurity, policing, education, policy, and advocacy. I'm always keen for events like that to include as many people from the community who might be affected and might have something to say. So it's music to my ears to hear it's
Yeah.
going to be accessible to non-technical audiences.
No, it's good. It's a very good event.
Mm. So we're moving on to our stories for today. As we don't have a guest, we have an event that's titled Zero Rating When Data Decides Access. So this is one that you picked up, Sweyn.
Yes, this is the launch by the Digital Poverty Alliance of a piece of research on something called zero rating. And what they say is that access to essential services in the UK is increasingly decided in the moment by something simple and unstable, and that is having enough data to to complete the task that's in front of you. Um, Here we go. For example, booking a GP appointment, managing a welfare claim, responding to a school message. Increasingly, these tasks sit behind a login screen, and that screen assumes stable, affordable data at the moment, at the precise moment that access is required.
Mm.
So when data decides access is a new report from the DPA, looking at what happens when that assumption breaks down. In other words, when you don't have the data that you need to do these essential tasks. And it's drawing on original survey evidence from people experiencing digital and data poverty alongside stakeholder insight and existing research. The report shows how data affordability shapes whether healthcare, welfare, education, and other essential services remain reachable in actual practice. So it's within that context that the report examines this thing called zero rating, which is allowing access to specific online services without those interactions counting towards a data allowance. So if, for example, you would get access to anything in the NHS web sphere, even if you had zero data left on your
Mm.
pay-as-you-go SIM or on your monthly account. So this is not presented as a solution to digital and data poverty, uh, uh, or as a substitute for wider affordability measures, but is examined as a targeted mechanism to prevent access to essential services from falling at the point where data scarcity would otherwise block it. So this is a report uh, published by the DPA. It's something that not very much research has been done into up until now, and there are a lot of questions in this report, as well as some suggestions for how this could be carried forward. And I attended, very pleased to attend the Digital Poverty Alliance Networking Day 2 weeks ago, yesterday, 2 weeks ago, where this report was launched, as well as various other topics. So that's that.
Mm.
That's that zero rating report.
I don't think I completely understood what zero rating was until just now, really. So
Right.
I thanks for that explanation. What was the event well attended? What
It
was the
was.
outcome? Mm.
I think there were about 40, maybe slightly
Mm-hmm.
more people there. The researcher who had produced the report was there to introduce it. Mitrai Shukla. Chris Ashworth from Nominet was there. He's been working in the background in this area too.
Mm.
It was just a very interesting thing. Like you, I was very vague about what zero rating was. I was imagining it's something to do with VAT,
Yeah.
possibly, but it's not. Nothing to do with that. And yeah, that it was a good discussion from people representing a wide range of kind of digital providers or
Mm.
user groups or local authorities or all sorts of people really. And it's something which I think we'll hear more of in the weeks and months ahead.
And who are the key players to make it happen?
I think from what I picked up from the discussion was it's one of these situations where technically it's relatively straightforward to provide if we give all the ISPs, all the mobile phone companies, a list of sites that we want them to
Mm,
zero rate. They can do that quite straightforwardly. But then, of course, there is a cost to that, both in maintaining it and also in maintaining that list, and
mm,
also in income which the mobile companies might otherwise gain from selling more data.
mm,
So the question is whether it's reasonable to simply ask mobile providers to do this and cover the costs themselves, whether there's a role for government, how to define what the list of zero-rated sites is, and so on and so on and so on. And I think the overwhelming impression I got from the discussion was that we could spend months and years debating how and why and how much it's going to cost, but using a sort of common sense, get something useful done quickly type approach,
mm,
it's likely that progress can be made reasonably quickly at minimal cost really to anyone. It's just a question of organizing it, getting it done.
mm. And did you say that some of this happened during COVID, so it's not
Yes.
not impossible to carry on?
What
Yeah.
what all NHS sites and other sites as well were zero rated in this way during COVID when no one could go about to make in-person appointments to access services. Um, and the suggestion was that actually many of the bigger mobile companies are still zero rating those sites. That's never been switched off, but it's not very well known.
Uh-huh.
I had um, a slight one. I wondered slightly. I can see how it's easy to zero rate anything that's nhs.net or gov.uk.
Mm,
But not all the essential services that people most need are under those domains. I mean, GPs do not use typically an NHS website
mm,
address because they're
mm,
independent contractors usually. There's all sorts of third sector and other support services which, while not strictly part of the public sector, I'm thinking of things like advocacy groups, translation
mm,
services, and all of that sort of thing. I just wonder once once the easy bit is done, which would indeed be to make all the NHS and all the .gov.uk sites zero rated, uh, how far that would actually take us towards the aspiration that's looked for in the report. But as Chris and others, Elizabeth Anderson as well as the DPA was saying, this is very much a kind of an assessment of where we're at. This report, and it's hope that it'll stimulate stakeholders, whether in all sectors really,
mm,
to come up with a solution or a strategy or a plan that will improve matters for people
mm.
who now and again find themselves out of data.
Yeah. Maybe we can invite Chris Ashford on the show to
Yeah.
tell us a bit more about it. I think that'd be
Well,
good.
I think
Yeah.
he's probably the one who's in the center of it
Mm.
almost,
Yeah.
and we could get my Tria, the researcher,
Mm.
on as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, and just see where that takes us. Yes.
Yeah. Let's look into that. Okay, moving on. We this story is a bit dated, but I wanted to include it because it's kind of about my work that I used to do in Birmingham,
Hmm.
and this was a thank you ceremony for digital inclusion at Birmingham City Council, organised by my colleague who at the council as was then Sally Roche, great surname, the digital inclusion lead, who brought together sponsors and partners who have worked tirelessly to make a meaningful impact on the lives of community members across Birmingham, providing internet boxes, free data, and refurbished phones, as well as fostering real connections with people and helping them build the skills and confidence they need to navigate the digital world, access better career opportunities, health services, and stay connected with their loved ones. And there's a picture on screen of um, the event Sally addressing the colleagues. And if you scroll down, the picture shows my the individuals who have took over from me at Digital NNS. In red is Ricky Josen, who we probably will have on the show at some stage when she's settled more into the role. And Sally then is next, and Benita Wishart from BVSC on the right, and then on the left is Ibi, who is covering Gina Ing's maternity leave. So well done to them all for
Yes, well
organising
done.
that, and it's great to celebrate. Things that have gone well. So good luck to them, and hope it long continues.
Absolutely.
Okay, the next event is also about Birmingham, and Birmingham has had a device bank in the past, but they now have a new device bank organised by a company, a CIC called Recognition Circular, and they launched the device bank, the Birmingham Device Bank, at an event at Tyseley Energy Park in January, and I was actually at the event. So this aims to keep tech an opportunity in our city. And they write in the blurb, when Birmingham businesses donate old laptops to national schemes, there's no telling where they end up. Another city, another country, sometimes, often processed by a large commercial organisation with shareholders to pay. They asked the question, did you know that with some device banks, by bank schemes, up to 90% of devices are sold at a profit, with only a small number actually making it into the hands of people who really need them? So the Birmingham Device Bank is offering an alternative. Collection of laptops and other devices can be arranged across the city. Data destruction, repair, and refurbishing will be carried out at Recognition Circular's base in Tyseley. The not-for-profit community interest company trains and employs local people in device refurbishment, meaning your old laptops support jobs in the local community. So that's the model. Birmingham businesses, Birmingham technicians, Birmingham residents, nothing leaves the city. So I think that's quite unusual, Sweyn, for a lot of these projects. People give devices, but you don't always know where they're going to end up.
Yes, no, funnily enough, that was another of the subjects at the Digital Poverty Alliance Networking Day. There was a session focused on the work that Coventry are doing, which sounds almost identical to this. Certainly, the high level approach is the same, with the idea that people who perhaps we could persuade more people and more organizations to donate devices they're finished with if we could demonstrate some stories about how those devices go on to be used, and if we can persuade those organizations particularly that their strategic objectives are being kind of furthered by that in terms of digital inclusion or employability or any of those other kind of social purposes, rather than just focusing on the number of kilograms of electronic waste that haven't gone into landfill, which is important.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm really enthusiastic about that, but it's a bit dry and it's perhaps quite hard to get people excited and committed on that basis. Whereas if, like this project in Birmingham and the one that we were told, I think it's Coventry Connects is the name of the one in Coventry.
Yeah.
With a scheme like that, then there's much more richness to it. There's more community to it. There's probably more benefit because people can see what's going on. And I love the idea of training people locally to refurbish devices rather than just, feeding them into some commercial process. So yeah, great.
Yeah, very good. So well done to Recognition Circular for setting that up, and we wish them every success and hope that people will donate. And even if you're not in Birmingham, you can donate to the bank and know that local people are in Birmingham are going to be helped. So please do think about doing that. If there are other projects we know around the country, and we can provide information about where to donate your device if you want to give to another locality. Many exist in local areas. So the next story is by Sita Brand, CEO and storytelling education pioneer, and it's titled Digital Transformation or Digital Barrier. And this is a story from LinkedIn again. And she writes that she spent 3 days attempting to complete Companies House's new identity verification requirement. And she says the system returns page expired errors in loops, disconnects phone calls after 30-minute holds, provides no human support, leaves no alternative pathway, So the solution was for her to hire a professional intermediary, an accountant and solicitor, to navigate the system on her behalf. Um, so she says that a government requirement marketed as simple and free now requires paid professional assistance for many citizens to complete. And this raised for her critical questions about digital inclusion. Who designed these systems? What testing was done with actual users? Where is the accountability when automated systems fail? And how many citizens are blocked from legal compliance by cost barriers? The Buddhist concept of right action asks whether our efforts reduce or increase suffering. After 3 days of loops, the answer became clear. Continued attempts weren't moving towards solution. They were wasting finite time on systems designed without human oversight. And the conclusion of the piece is that when digital transformation creates barriers that only wealth can overcome, we haven't modernized. We've just privatized access to legal compliance. So, what do you think about that one, Sweyn?
I think that's a very good generalization of what the points were being made about zero rating.
Mm,
Um, there's all sorts of barriers to actually accessing services that are theoretically available online,
mm,
and those are some of the most fundamental ones that are in that post.
yeah.
I mean, those uh, and it's all very well if you can afford the paid the paid professional intermediary, or
Mm,
if you can find a third sector intermediary at a library or through AbilityNet or whatever to help you, then that's all fine.
mm,
But if the idea of these services was to make life easier for citizens and to save costs in terms of service providers, then if all it's doing is making is kind of outsourcing work from what the provider used to do to what now the service user is expected to do, then that's no use at all.
no, no. And that one about page expired errors in loops. I'm
Yes.
very familiar with that one. Why
Yes.
why does that happen?
I don't know. It's just very poor design.
Mm,
Um, I don't know. But so some of these questions also came up on the third subject from that networking day in London 2 weeks ago, which was an update of where we are with the digital ID. And
okay.
a lot of the problems and um, uh, issues that can be foreseen with any hastily implemented digital ID system would be very similar to some of the things that are in that post that you've just read out.
Mm,
Unless it's designed properly, it'll be a real barrier for a section of society that that is just yet another thing that could marginalize or exclude
mm,
people if they're not able to navigate the new systems for whatever it is you have to do about
hmm.
digital ID,
Yeah.
however that works out.
Because we know that it hasn't gone away. It's just they've just changed the
Yes,
focus of it, and we will
yes,
come back to that at some stage as well.
yes.
Okay, the next article is a new fund aiming to tackle digital exclusion, and this is a regional digital skills initiative expanding support for community groups as it awards new funding to help tackle digital exclusion across the Northeast. The Dynamo Digital Inclusion Fund, created by tech sector organisation Dynamo Northeast CIC and managed by the Community Foundation Northeast, has allocated almost £36,000 in its first round of grants. The fund was established to improve digital access, boost skills development, and widen employment opportunities for people of all ages and backgrounds. So it mentions 9 community organisations who will benefit, and they are including Your Voice Counts, Age UK Teesside, the Twisting Ducks Theatre Company, Digital Voice for Community CIC, Skills for Work, Age Concern South Tyneside, the Afghanistan and Central Asian Association, Mulgrave Mixed Media, and Vision Northumberland. And each group supports people with varying needs, from older residents to neurodiverse individuals and those facing social or economic barriers. And Kevin Maloney, the philanthropy advisor at Community Foundation Northeast, said it's been fantastic to work with Dynamo Northeast on establishing the fund and making the first round of grants. The digital divide remains a significant barrier for many individuals and communities in our region, and the crucial work that all 9 organisations do will directly support those affected by this barrier. Um, the fund forms part of Dynamo's wider mission to drive long-term digital inclusion and support communities most at risk of being left behind. It aims to create practical pathways into the digital economy and ensure residents have the confidence and capability to engage with essential online services. And I just like stories like this where we can look at what's happening in particular regions, and hopefully other regions are doing similar things or will benefit from this kind of inspiration. So we move on to the Digital Inclusion Innovation Fund, which is a national fund, a UK government fund, and we have a short video. Sweyn, are we able to show that today?
Yes, indeed.
Great.
Of English.
This course,
the majority just have not used computers on any kind of regular basis.
I think you're sharing the wrong screen there, Sweyn.
And we
Sorry.
combine digital skills
So I am.
with
Let's start
teaching
again.
of English.
Let's start again.
Worth a restart.
Unshare. Yes, I was being so clever as well. That one. We'll go back to the beginning. So
Yeah, let's do that.
just check that it's the right one that's sharing.
Yeah.
And it is.
The majority just have not used computers on any kind of regular basis. I lead an ESOL workshop and we combine digital skills with teaching of English.
this course helped me too much because I want to improve my skills. I will learn too much about computers and I didn't know anything about this.
My future plan is I want to be a teacher. I need to learn more things in digital because without digital I can't do anything.
Using the kind of things that they'll need for English life in the UK. Knowing the language of health services is really important. Many of them have children at school. They need to engage with schools digitally.
This center helped the people. They learn for work for computer, they learn everything about the computer and help too much this digital class. It's very important.
So much of our economy and society is digital now. If we want everyone to share in the benefits, everyone needs to be able to have the skills and access to be online. And for the first time, we are funding through our Digital Inclusion Innovation Fund 80 community projects up and down the country that will help people get the access, skills and confidence to get online. It's about doing things in a different way and putting more power in your hands.
And that was Minister Baroness Lloyd she's the Digital Inclusion Minister, seeing how the Bromley by Bow Centre are supporting digital skills to help teach English, access banking and health services, and boost confidence navigating the online world. And this is the UK government's Digital Inclusion Innovation Fund, changing the fact that 8 million adults lack basic digital skills and 1.6 million are offline, and therefore they're missing out on benefits. So I think something like 80 projects were funded by this fund, so that's just one of them. So it's interesting to see, and great to see the minister getting out there and seeing what's actually happening on the ground, and hearing people speak for themselves about the difference that it makes, and what they're hoping to get from it. So moving on, we find a story on the BBC. The UK launches task force to break down barriers for women in technology. And this is a story that the government has launched a new task force. It says will help women enter, stay and lead in the UK tech sector. I think that's not the screen you're meant to share either, Sweyn.
I'm not doing well, am I? I'm not doing well. What am I doing?
Welcome to our informality.
I think we want to share this one. There we go.
That's the one. So led by Technology Secretary Liz Kendall, this task force will see female leaders from tech companies and organizations advise the government on how to boost diversity and economic growth in the industry. The British Computer Society, the Chartered Institute for IT, recently suggested women accounted for only 22% of those working in IT specialist roles in the UK, which is better than it used to be, Sweyn. I remember when it was only 18%, so we're going in the right direction. Ms. Kendall said the Women in Tech group would break down the barriers still hold too many people back. When women are inspired to take on a role in tech and have a seat at the table, the sector can make more representative decisions, build products that serve everyone, she said. So BCS warned in December the amount of women working in the UK tech sector still lagged far behind men, and it said the government should look to help close the gender gap in order to meet its ambitious AI goals. Its chief executive, Sharon Gunn, said, "We cannot create high trust, high integrity AI systems if the profession behind them is missing out on the talents and perspective of half the population." So Liz Kendall will lead the task force alongside Anne-Marie Imafidon. I never remember how to pronounce Anne-Marie's surname. She's the founder of STEMETS, who has been appointed as the Women in Tech Envoy. Anne-Marie passed A-level computing aged 11 and received a master's degree in maths and computer science from the University of Oxford aged 12. So she was a child genius. And I've met her dad, and all the family have lots of skills and talents in that area. She sought to encourage more young women into careers in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths. And she told the BBC that her role would build on more than a decade of work to establish greater equality for and representation of women. But now, amid what she calls a fourth industrial revolution, was a key moment to be part of shifting who is making those decisions for what comes next. She said, "This isn't just about having women being the driving force and building the technology, but about building technology that benefits everybody." The government said the task force will advise on ways to make the tech sector more representative and ensure the UK accesses the full talent pool, market opportunities, and innovation capacity needed for economic growth. And so the founding members include BT Group boss Alison Kirkby, Revolut Chief Executive Francesca Carlesi, and Dr. Hayatun Silem, Chief Executive of the Royal Academy of Engineering. It also includes TUC Assistant General Secretary Kate Bell, Director of Public Policy at Uber Emma O'Dwyer, and Sue Daly, Director of Technology Innovation at Industry Group Tech UK. So that sounds like a very worthwhile endeavor, with lots of interesting people from business. Sweyn,
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that many women in businesses before mentioned anyway in an article like that. So
No, it's
great
good.
stuff to see. Yeah, we look forward to hearing more about that. So we're moving on to another article, and this is from a story in Ireland, and it's from the journal, i.e., which mentions that OpenAI, as the company behind ChatGPT, has just signed a government charter on digital inclusion, and this is signed an Irish government charter aimed at improving digital inclusion and access to emerging technologies across Ireland. The US-based AI firm became the latest signatory to the government's Charter for Digital Inclusion, following a meeting between Minister of State for AI and Digital Transformation, Niamh Smythe, and Emma Redmond, head of OpenAI Ireland. It's a charter's voluntary initiative that encourages companies and public bodies to promote digital skills, improve accessibility, and support people who may struggle to engage with new technologies as AI and online services become more widespread. As part of the move, OpenAI has committed to a number of pledges under the Charter, including investing in staff upskilling, embedding digital inclusion principles into its products and policies, and supporting government-led programs focused on digital transformation. So it's good to see at least one AI company getting involved in the government charter on digital inclusion. We'll wait and see how it turns out, and whether any other AI companies decide to sign up to the charter. Any thoughts on that, Sweyn?
It can't be a bad thing for companies to sign up to digital inclusion. I think some of the ethical stuff involved in AI would probably need to be addressed in that arena, though, to make sure that people know what's what and what they're signing up for, really. But we'll see, as you say, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, good. And so our next story is one that Sweyn picked up from his reading online this week. Chromebook repairs for Highland Council school pupils cost nearly 34,000 over 12 months. Do you want to talk about this one, Sweyn?
Well, it's a local news story in Highland. Highland, of course, is an enormous geographical area, has a population of, I think, something like 150 or 200,000 people. And I think part of me thinks that this story was hoping to say, look how look how expensive these Chromebooks are in repairs and maintenance. Every school child in year 6 and above, up to the end of 6th year or 6th form, gets their own personal Chromebook in Highland. And the bill for repairs and maintenance over a 12-month period was £34,000. But no, I've not registered on this newspaper. I think I've used up my free. I think I've used up my free allocation. So let me just try and talk about this in a different way. When you look at it though, the number of devices that they've provided to pupils is 29,312. So it's about £1.15 per device that they've spent on repairs and maintenance, which I don't think is a
Great
huge amount.
value. Sounds great, like great value to me. Yeah.
I don't see any bad news in this at all. But it does highlight the fact that in common with there's only a few local authorities in Scotland who take this approach with giving a device to individual pupils. Edinburgh is another one. But it does highlight that that is a practice in some areas, and we should be looking to see what the benefits of it are and whether we should be doing it on a national basis, really.
I did actually print off some of the text from the article, and it was an FOI request, which makes me think that kind of that discovered this, which made me think that a journalist was just kind of scrolling around to see what would make a good story. But I think it's a great example of good financial management by the council, and great benefit to the students. The FOI request apparently stated that when a school reports a damaged or faulty Chromebook, the device is not returned to the school. Instead, a replacement device is provided.
That's right.
To ensure the school is not left short of Chromebooks. And this is a project that started in 2015, stating the rise of digital connectivity is transforming how pupils learn in the classroom. So it's part of the strategic action plan, which sounds great, that they're equipping young people with this digital skills and giving devices to help narrow the digital skills gap. So yeah, good for them.
Yep, that's good. It's good. It's just a little window into what's been going on in Highland for a number of years. So it's quite a good one.
So our next story is about Google. It's apparently now prioritizing YouTube and X over publishers on Discover. And this was a story in Press Gazette by Dominic Ponsford on the 15th of January. And it says that Google is increasingly prioritizing AI summaries, X posts, and YouTube videos on its Discover mobile aggregation platform. These changes could be devastating, it says, for publishers who rely heavily on Discover for referral traffic, and it looks to accelerate a global trend of declining traffic to publishers from both Google Search and Discover. So that is less than, it just seems like a kind of a negative trend to me. Or at least not, it's not giving people access to all the information that they could have if it's prioritizing AI summaries, X posts, and YouTube videos, all of whom are produced by, not necessarily by people without an axe to grind, or not who aren't just presenting information. They've got presenting opinions, and I think when they search, they want information, not just opinions.
I wonder how many people realize whether or not they're using Google Discover on their mobile phone, because it's an option only on mobile devices. And I think only as part of the Chrome browser as well. So I wasn't really aware of it until this story came up, that there was such a thing.
Yeah.
But it's one of these complications that end up in online services, which probably very few people actually understand what's going on with them and whether or not they've switched them on or not, which just makes this kind of story even more concerning, really.
Yeah. I have Discover on my phone and I don't use it, but I know that people do, and it comes back again to media and digital literacy, doesn't it? People don't know exactly. There's so much to know. I'm not blaming people. I'm just saying there's so much to know, and then they're not able to keep
Yeah.
up with it, you know. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And now we have a kind of a story from a website called androidpolice.com, talking about YouTube's annoying content unavailable error in its latest attempt at breaking ad blockers. So, if you use YouTube regularly, you'll know that it's funded by ads, and so lots of people try to avoid them by using ad blockers. So this Karandeep Singh Oberoi, who wrote this story, asks, has YouTube been acting wonky for you over the past week? And this was at the end of January. You're not alone. I personally have been unable to play any videos on the first go on my Mac or Windows desktop, with all returning with a this content isn't available, try again later message. Others have it worse, with some also seeing a content not available in your country message. And this follows, he says, a November 2025 bug that caused several key UI elements to go poof. He says he has the issue on both Chrome and Firefox, but not on Safari. You want to know why the latter might be working fine? It's likely because I don't run an ad blocker on Safari. So he says if you head to Reddit and searching for content unavailable on the Reddit YouTube subreddit, will show you several user complaints posted within the week, with some stray reports dating back a few months, as also pointed out by Punica Web. Karandeep says in their testing, if you do not want to pause your ad blocker, tapping the blue Learn More button right underneath the error message and then hitting the back button returns you to the player and triggers the video to start playing immediately. And they also suggest other troubleshooting steps that work for some and might or might not work for you, include refreshing the video until it starts playing, transitioning to a YouTube-specific ad blocker, switching your YouTube account, or disabling your VPN. Well, that's fine if you have the skills to be able to do that, but that's not. Lots of people are just going to give up, aren't they, Sweyn?
Yes, I would probably give up, I must admit.
Yeah.
Unless it was really important. Yeah, I mean, that's just a mess, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the whole ad blocker kind of war of increasing resources as ad blockers become better. So sites that object to you using them get more fussy about whether you're running them or not. So the ad blocker gets better again. It's hard to know what to think about people who get so upset with ads that they are not prepared to watch them, even though that's the site, that's what's funding the site they're using.
Yeah.
There's lots of rights and wrongs to unpack there, I think.
Yeah.
But this is just a beautiful example of how something as, I mean, nobody invented the internet assuming it would be running adverts all the time, and nobody designed a site to run on adverts with the intention that all their users avoid the adverts by using ad blockers. It's just a mess, really. It's the free market at its worst, in my opinion.
Well, if anybody wants to come on and talk about that and how it's affected them, we'd be interested to hear. Or anyone's got any other advice about ad blockers, generally good or bad. So yeah, look forward to hearing more about that. We've got two more stories before we close the show, and the next one, I picked this one up because I think this would have tickled John Popham, our founder. The title is, it's from the gov.uk website, and the title is Barnsley becomes UK's first government-backed tech town. And this is from the Department of Science, Information Technology, and the Right Honourable Liz Kendall MP. And it says that Barnsley has been named the UK's first tech town, with local schools and colleges, businesses, NHS, and more getting bespoke government support to unleash the opportunities of AI. It delivers on the town's ambitions to put AI to work in overhauling public services and businesses, blazing a trail for the rest of the UK to follow. Leading firms including Microsoft, Cisco, Adobe, and Google back the plans and pledge to support local people's access to jobs of the future. And it follows the launch of free AI training for all as part of a commitment to upskill 10 million UK workers, the naming of Lanarkshire as the latest AI growth zone, and £36 million of investment into AI research resource supercomputer. So the article those are the headlines, and the article goes on to say Barnsley is set to forge a path the rest of the country could follow, one that makes sure communities left behind by the economic changes of the 20th century can seize the benefits of the 21st. And it includes free AI and digital training, working with Barnsley College, and the South Yorkshire Institute of Technology. Residents will be able to take part in free courses to boost their career, retrain, or simply learn something new. Help to increase AI adoption, expanding the SEAM digital campus to give small and growing businesses hands-on support to use new technology, scale up, and create good local jobs. The SEAM is already home to 33 local digital businesses, with plans for it to become an AI campus based around a new National Centre for Digital Technologies. Includes innovating in healthcare, partnering with Barnsley Hospital to test AI tools that offer quicker check-ins, faster triage, and smoother outpatient care, providing a better service and freeing up NHS workers to focus on what they do best, and tools to support teaching and learning, testing AI and edtech tools in schools and Barnsley College to improve evidence of the impact of technology on pupil outcomes, including and reducing teacher technology, and building the right infrastructure, planning how the town will use technology better, like public buildings and Wi-Fi, as well as adding strong cybersecurity so people can use digital services with confidence and boosting connectivity. And I think that's probably the third or fourth story we've covered today, Sweyn, that mentions confidence. And it's great to see that being repeated so regularly as an important thing to be mindful of. I'll look forward to the first year of the evaluation of this, Sweyn. How they get on, especially with the hospital or the health promises, faster check-ins and faster triage. Very interested to see how that works.
Be very, very interesting. Yes, it apart from the mentions of AI, which I suppose are quite fundamental to this particular this could have been written any time in the last 30 years about better use of technology in a town. So we'll see what the outcome is. Indeed, what the outcomes are, I should say, as people say.
And is it? Yeah, it's just the title actually is a bit. Is it the UK's first government-backed tech town? The first government tech town backed by the government? Anyway, we'll see. We'll see how it develops, and if anybody wants to come on and talk about how they think it's going to work, we'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
And finally, our final story is about Instagram, and this is from the BBC again, and the title is Instagram boss says 16 hours of daily use is problematic, not addiction. Discuss. And this is a story that says the head of Instagram has defended his platform against claims it caused mental health damage to minors, arguing in a California court that even seemingly excessive use of social media does not equal an addiction. Adam Mosseri, who has led Instagram for 8 years, testified in the landmark trial that began this week in Los Angeles, and that was dated the 11th of February, making him the first high-profile executive to appear. The trial is expected to last 6 weeks and serve as a test of legal arguments aimed at holding tech firms accountable for impacts on young people. Lawyers from Meta, which owns Instagram, have argued the lead plaintiff in the case, known by her initials KGM, was hurt by other things in her life, not Instagram. And the article also says YouTube is also named in the suit, while Snapchat and TikTok both reached settlements ahead of the trial. Very interesting. Your thoughts, Sweyn, as we close?
Addiction, addiction is a medical term. Whether or not 16 hours of use of social media a day qualifies as addiction or not, I don't know, but it surely must be harmful in some way or other. Whether that is the fault of the platforms or not, well, they certainly make it as easy as possible to keep going and click through to yet another area of the site. So we'll see what happens in this court case.
Yeah, it's been very interesting to me to see the social media platforms say that they haven't worked to make their platforms addictive, but in fact, isn't that their business model? They want you to spend more time on it. So, yeah, questions to be asked. again, we welcome anybody else's view to come on the show and talk about that. But thanks for joining us today. If you would like to be on the show, we're always looking for guests and commentators. Please do contact us. But for now, thanks for joining us and have a great week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.